them up, and then I'll be with you in just a minute. All right, everyone out there in Facebook and YouTube land, we're live right now at the Inside Draft. A little bit of the pre-show before we start the actual show. Tonight's guest is Jaden Walbridge. So for those of you that have not caught the Inside Draft in the last couple of weeks, what the show is, it's basically a show that we started 2 years ago. We started filming behind the scenes, doing documentaries for our race car drivers, primarily the junior late models. Now we're expanding that into the pro late model ranks. And we decided we'd give all of you a look while we're doing these shows live here from our studio while we're filming for the behind the wheel driver segment. As I mentioned tonight, it's Jaden Walbridge that's on the show. So the makeup of the show is news and upcoming events. We'll start with sharp at 6 o'clock here in just a couple of minutes. There's our ticker, 3 minutes actually. And then from there, we'll go with our behind-the-wheel driver profile. The featured driver tonight is Jaden Walbridge. We're filming this for a MAVTV segment, so you'll get to see the behind-the-scenes on that. And then we have the fan Q&A section, and then track tips and tricks. The fan Q&A section, we'll do it a little bit different tonight. I've got monitors up here with, we got Zachary, super cameraman over here. I'm watching my YouTube monitors on the left. We've got Colton and Brittany Bowles. So any questions, hit them on that chat board, on the message board over there on YouTube. But on my right over here would be my right, your left. On my right, I've got the Facebook broadcast going on. So if you guys want, you can actually put the questions up on Facebook as well. So pop your questions up over there, and I'll try and monitor those. I've got to scroll down to keep up with them, but I'll monitor that. Then in front of me, I've got the production monitor, and over here, I've got the program out monitor, so I've got 4 monitors rolling. And on this side, I've got Jaden Walbridge. Over there, wave at me, Jaden. You got me there? All right, Jaden's all ready to go. So we'll bring Jaden in here in a few minutes. We've got 1 minute to go before we roll the show and get the party started tonight on a Wednesday night. Let's jump over here and get a few things set and ready to go. Ready to roll. In fact, that intro, it looks like we're on board with Jaden's car tonight in the intro. Some blue Camaro with a black hood, I believe that is Jaden. So in that particular picture. So you see that ticker when it strikes 6, we'll take off. Hello, Steve Gonzalez, Rosa, Carol Hoover. What's up, Carol, my buddy? He and I got this racing addiction when we were, before kindergarten. Huh, Carol? Back in Oskaloosa, Iowa. So again, hit us with your questions for Jaden on either my YouTube side over here or Facebook over here in the monitors, and I'll blend them in as we're rolling with Jaden. We go live. Here we go. It's time to get this thing started. Welcome to the Inside Draft. Welcome, everyone, to the Inside Draft. It's the show where the drivers get the fast track to the front with extra exposure, tips, and tricks. This off-season, we will have a marketing seminar full of how-to, and it's the place where the fans get the inside scoop on the drivers. So this first segment is news and upcoming events, And I really want to start with something very special. We raised almost, let's go here. We raised almost $10,000 for the Valley Children's Hospital. Actually, it was right at $8,000 in total that we raised from August 21st to September 18th. The finale of that fundraiser was the officials' foot race that they had, and Eli Weddehays was the flagman, and Gianna Cicelli, Little G as we like to call her, she was the race director, and it made me laugh already. She was firm. I mean, it was really something. Let me pop a few pictures in here of that fundraiser. Let's take that graphic down. That's Eli. He's getting ready to roll the flags out for this walk that we had. It was kind of interesting what took place. And then we have Little G. She was a race director and firm. I mean, amazing how firm. She laid the rules down on him. Here's the start of the race, and that is Frank, the flagman, on the left, Michael, our spotters official, to his right, CK, the track steward, to his right, and then Anthony in the red shirt, that's the race director, and they took off for this foot race. Now, Frank has an in-car camera, onboard camera on his walker, and Little G let him know right away, no bumping, pushing, shoving. You can see Frank's cranked to the right going after Michael already. And after the event, Michael actually won the event, but in the post-tech, we'll call it, Little G did not like what she saw. There was a lot of contact back and forth, pushing and shoving, and she disqualified Michael. Now, Michael has a $20 bill in his hand. He's trying to bribe her at this point. She went ahead and took the $20, but donated that to Children's Hospital. And Michael wanted to protest, and Frank was complaining, you know, he spun his tires and ran into her and all kinds of craziness. So it was kind of similar to a regular short track event. So that was a lot of fun. And again, right at $8,000 was raised. We'll have the totals here in just a couple of days. A report will go out. We're issuing the check to Children's Hospital at the short track shootout. So something very worthwhile. A lot of really good work went into this, and we appreciate Little G and Eli helping us. We had heart families. Eli has had 3 open heart operations there at Children's Hospital. Gianna had to stay a couple of days there after an accident, so it was really hit close to home. And then we were very fortunate, very blessed to have a lot of the heart families, families that kids have had open heart surgery there, were out at the Speedway with us that night. So from that fundraiser, let's jump into a recap of last weekend very quickly, and then we'll get Jaden up here. Let's see what I've got here. See if I can just roll some replay footage from the event. Let's start right here. The event started off with the 5150 Junior Late Model Series, and that's Casey Cash Klein on the pole and some new colors. That's a Nate Clower car. And Casey really dominated the first half of the race. Looked like he was poised to win the race. Was really solid. Had Brody Armtrout in the 29 car that's trying to track down the 11 car back there of Jacob Smith in the points. A couple of other cars that were really strong in this event. Very, very impressive. Ethan Nascimento, very impressive at one point, had the lead, was really rolling the outside. You see Casey Klein right here. He fell back, and they broke something in the rear suspension that took him out of the race, but that was not before leading and leading handily the first segment of the race. Looked like he was the favorite to win, as smooth as he was. They really got together with that new team. He just got together with Nate Clower and was very strong, to say the least. But after he was out, then the battle ensued with the Armtrout car, the 29 car of Brody Armtrout, Ethan Nascimento on the outside. And this is with the sun out, so watch Ethan, a little bit of contact there, but watch Ethan roll this high side with the sun out. If that sun was down, I think we may have had a little different story in the race, because he was really rolling that high side for a junior. You see the 11 car of Jacob Smith rolling in there. He's just trying to keep that 29 car in sight from what his interviews were saying. It's a really close point battle. And then we had Robbie Keneally back there in that number 1 car. The Keneally family, they're the ones that had their RV burned down. We did tried to help them with some fundraising. He was able to pick a ride up in that Keller Motorsports number 1 and was just tough the entire weekend and kind of race winning type tough, really fast. So as you see that number 1 car doing a very, very good job. There is, again, a little bit of footage. And again, this is just replay footage from the weekend that we pulled up from our recorders. You see at this point now, Jacob Smith's got 2 cars between himself and Brody Armtrout. That will really put a lot of pressure on Jacob Smith for the point battle. But as you see right here, his plan all along in these next two races, as he communicated, was just to make sure that no more than one car finished between that 11 car and the 29. Jacob's already had 2 victories, and very impressive here. He's really done a nice job improving on his passing techniques in traffic, and rolled the high side right here on the Keneally car, which was really a fast race car, giving himself the 3rd position and keeping things in range in the championship. We'll go over the points here in just a few minutes, but let me pull this up right now. I believe we have this is Brody Armtrout coming for another victory right here, but you've got Jacob Smith just 9 points over Brody Armtrout that takes the victory right here. So every point is absolutely critical right now in this championship battle that's going down to the wire in the 5150 Junior Late Model Series from the Madera Speedway. Here's the Nut Up Pro Late Model highlights. That's Barrett Polhemus, rookie in the Junior Late Models and a rookie in the Pro Late Models. He's competed in the last 2 Pro Late Model events, getting ready in that Charlie Wilson prepared Van Dorn chassis, getting ready for a full-time campaign next year. You see Brody Armtrout kind of moves up high on the high side, and early trouble strikes, as we talked about last week. Jaden will not want to see this, but watching this replay, early trouble strikes for Jaden, and just craziness at all times in round number 8 for whoever the point leader is. It just seems like it's complete stress in this Nut Up Pro Late Model Series. So Jaden goes to the back, working his way to the front. Howard Holden, a phenomenal run this night. At one point he was up 3rd, even fighting for 2nd. Howard's really got his program together, and they're working on some rental possibilities. They've added a car, and very impressive with what they're doing. Matt Erickson right here in the 3rd position, bounces it off the wall, fighting off Keller, but that Keller car was just rock solid, stayed out of trouble, no mistakes, smooth as silk. Right here, this is a battle for the lead, and traffic at one point just about 3 wide right there, but not before a major oil down. Pardon me, I was wrong there. It was Eric Nascimento Jr. that was still the leader. That was the battle for 2nd. And Eric Nascimento Jr. Ended up, someone oiled the track down with gear oil. No one knew, but it ended up being Eric Nascimento Jr. And if you watched on Short Track TV, you saw Zach, our cameraman, right in there, giving you the insight as to what took place and what went on with what oil. So it was kind of ironic. It was the leader. They went in, and it was such a lengthy caution. The Nascimento car was actually able to make repairs, get a plug back in it, clean the thing up, and it was fine. Didn't leak it, dropped the rest of the night. But on the next race start, it was the one car of Tyler Herzog that was the leader, Kyle Keller on the bottom, but the Keller car was really smooth, really fast on the bottom. Look at Howard Holden, as I mentioned earlier, making a run, sticking his nose in there for 2nd at this point, and possibly even thinking about, hey, I can lead this thing. So very impressive. A lot of oil dried down on the track, as you'll see right here. But this track takes rubber very, very quickly. Look at Howard Holden thinking about making a run 3 wide again. That 41 car really, really fast. But Kyle Keller just kind of right there, he bobbles, but he snuck away to the lead after a handful of laps battling and really never looked back, even though he had some pressure on him at various points in the race. The 1 car's in command right here, but little by little the 12 car inches past and takes over in the race. This was on another restart where the 1 car checked up a little bit, had a problem, as Stephen Blakesley said, kind of dropped a parachute, and Howard got turned around through all the backlog right there and got pushed, which was a real shame. Howard had an absolute great run going. Here's the 07 car, Jaden Walbridge, coming forward. This put a smile on Jaden's face about this point watching. I see him on the other monitor. So Jaden's really working his way forward. Things look good. Okay, we've beat the demons, the wildness of this round number 8 that everyone's talking about, all the tragedy that can strike for the point leader. Here's Jaden sitting in 3rd. Pretty early in the event, he actually made it back up there, so you're thinking, heck, he might have a shot at a win here. So we've got Jay Julison right here. Really, really impressive. Was the best run he's had. I mean, they had speed in that Meade car. Ends up finishing 4th in this event, rolls Brody Armtrout on the outside right here, and that 12 car, that's the most impressed I've been with that team and his driving. He's now 9th in the points and has potential to move all the way to 6th. Here's Jaden, probably a video we won't want to see, but he's turned around by the 1 car. Looked like Tyler Herzog made a mistake right there, a little miscalculation, and around goes Jaden, back to the back again. So this round 8, here's the next restart. At this point, Matt Erickson's the point lead for about, as Stephen Blakesley said, about 90 feet. And it looks like Matt's going to head out of here with the point lead. Jaden's going to be back there chasing him down, and all of a sudden everything changes when Brody Armtrout made a mistake, pounds the wall, off the wall into the Matt Erickson car. And so here's the battle right now for second, while Kyle Keller is in another zip code, just kind of crawls away while these two are battling and going at it. Kyle Keller's up ahead. And as you'll see coming up as we close here in about 15 seconds of this video, you've got Jay Jolison right here fighting with Bradley Erickson for the 4th position. Amazing. Here comes Kyle Keller for his checkered flag first victory. Congratulations to Kyle Keller. Eric Nascimento Jr., Jason Aguirre, and as I noted, the 12 car Jay Jolison, 4th place. What a fantastic run right there. Let's move this back over. Pardon me. Had a picture. I was looking at pictures of Eli and the guys laughing and carrying on here, so kind of having some fun. So that's last week's highlights. Upcoming events right now. Let's chat about that a little bit. This coming weekend, we've got the Harvest Classic. It's the 49th annual Harvest Classic. It's a tribute to Kenny Takeuchi, Donnie Large. It's the Kenny Takeuchi tribute with a Donnie Large Senior tribute race. It's the Harvest Classic / Vukovic Classic because we had to cancel the Vukovic Classic in the spring. So we ended up moving them all together for one nice event for the Harvest Classic this year. After the Harvest Classic, let's see if I can get a ticker going here real quick. After the Harvest Classic, we have the October 2nd Nut Up Short Track Shootout. That's championship night, so we'll talk about that a lot with Jaden here in a minute, see what his mindset is going into that race. We've got it's championship night for the 5150 Junior Late Model Series and the Nut Up Pro Late Models. And then on October 16th, some big announcements coming out, but we've got the Triple Turkey Open. That's 4 divisions, the Open, Pro Late Models, Pro Late Model Rules, filmed for MAVTV. Also, round 3 of the Mission Modifieds. I was just on the phone with a sponsor from Tennessee today, and we're working on something to add to that Mission Modified package to get Kyle Tellstrom and some guys from Idaho and against Scott Winters and all the tough guys. So we're working on that. Announcements to come. Then we have a Hobby Stock Open race plus the Challenge Cup, which are the old ARCA-style cars. On October 16th, one other thing that Jaden and the boys will have some company. You'll have Ron Hornaday and Landon Lewis out that night running. So that deal was just finalized this afternoon, so some real excitement right there. So, and then after that, October 30th is the Pumpkin Smash Halloween Bash. So finally we get to do that Pumpkin Smash Halloween Bash once again. So what we're going to do right now is move on. It's the driver profile segment, and this is the part that we filmed for MAVTV, the whole heart and soul of this show and why we do this. Tonight it's with Jaden Walbridge, and the reason we do this live show is we've been doing these segments and filming, so we thought why not let you guys watch and ask some questions while you guys are out here. In fact, let's jump over the questions real quick. We get a chance here. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Down the board. Justin Reed, Eric Gonzalez, Carol Hoover, as I mentioned before. We've got Caitlin over here. So any questions, pop them up either on our Facebook page live or on our YouTube page, and you can interact with Jaden. Maybe if we use one of your questions, we'll even pop a little ticker or something up on MAVTV for you. So what I'm going to do right now is play a preview for you. It's actually a little segment, so you'll see what Jaden's program looks like when it's all finished up, what we're doing today. Let me see which one I can pull up here. I think our guys here just finished Jacob Smith. So I'm going to roll that one, and I'll be right back with you. This is about a minute and a half long, and you'll get a little bit of an idea of what Jaden's half-hour to 40-minute interview will turn into on MAVTV.
Driver profile.
The first time I got into a race car was last year in the Northwest Tour Trucks. And coming from go-karts, jumping into a full-size race car, it was amazing. Just the adrenaline and the power, it was an awesome experience. I raced in the asphalt sprint go-karts, and I traveled regionally and up and down the West Coast for 8 years, and I believe that allowed me to build on a good foundation of learning car control and everything about racing. My goals from the beginning of the season have been focused on winning the championship in the 5150 Junior Late Models. Right now I am leading the championship, and I am working hard to secure my goals.
Jacob Smith, Stephen Blakeslee, fielded by Matt and Rick Erickson. He is certainly going to be a driver to watch for.
I'm able to get out ahead and lead. I'm also good at keeping my nose clean and saving my equipment. My greatest challenge has definitely been adapting and getting better. I spend about 3 to 4 weeks in between races, not in a seat, so it's hard for me to get acclimated and back into the groove when I go down to Madera.
They will straighten up to the line and slant to the line. It will be Idaho's Jacob Smith taking the win.
Jacob Smith is a first-time winner in the 5150 Junior Late Models.
My dream has always been to be a professional race car driver, racing on TV for fans across the nation. And my goals are to become that professional race car driver, racing for a well-established professional race team in the NASCAR series. I'd like to thank all my supporters, all my fans, and all my friends and family.
Loud and clear there. Oh, I think it was my audio that was wrong. That's what they're trying to tell me. Okay, so I messed that up. Yeah, I didn't have audio going there. Everyone's seeing my mouth moving. So what I was talking about, I'll go over it right now again. I was talking about the points. I said hi to Ethan Nascimento, and when I was saying hi over here to Ethan, I didn't get my microphone turned on, so that's why you probably saw that. So let's go over this with Jaden even while he's here. I'll just hit it again because it's actually what I want to start talking about. So we've got Jaden Walbridge is 359 to Tyler Herzog's 340, Matt Erickson's 342, Kyle Keller 324, and Jason Nagari 297 in the Nut Up Pro Late Model Series points. And what I was talking about when you saw my mouth moving and not the microphone working, was talking about what a roller coaster ride that was. We're going to talk to Jaden about it right now, but with 7 laps to go, it looked like Matt Erickson was going to be the leader. Tyler Herzog at one point looked like it was going to be the point leader, and then it ends up just rolling back around, and Jaden even gained a couple through the craziness in that last 7 laps. So we've got in the 5150 Pro Late, or 5150 Junior Late Model Series, we have Jacob Smith is the point leader, 408 points to Brody Armtrout's 399, Ethan Nascimento's 376, to Barrett Polhemus 369, then Holly Clark 301 for the top 5. So really, really impressive point battles. It's going right down to the wire. Jaden, well, let's just start right there. What was it like? We're going to start this a little bit different than my normal behind-the-wheel interviews. A lot of interest, and this won't be the part that'll make MAVTV, obviously. I'll let you know when we fire off those questions. But what was it like? You know, we talked about it so much last week, even on this show. Round 8 in 7 years for whoever the point leader has just been crazy. I mean, it's like a curse being the point leader in round 8 of the 9-race series, or when it was an 8-race series, being the point leader in round 7. What was that roller coaster ride like for you?
Man, it was definitely a roller coaster. It's all started Friday morning. The pulley came loose on the motor, and the belt fell off for the water pump, and the motor got up to 278 degrees, almost blew it up. And then on Friday, almost right before qualifying, left rear went flat in practice, and things just didn't get better. The weld broke off on the exhaust in the main event, and as you saw, I got spun with 7 to go. So we kept hoping our luck got out of the way on Friday, and things just kept hitting us. But, I'm happy to extend, to maintain the points lead a little bit and even extend it a little bit as well. So overall, wasn't a bad weekend, and I'm really looking forward to the short track shootout.
So let's expand a little bit on that 7 to go situation, because there was a lot of craziness took place with just 7 laps to go. So you're turned around by the second place car in the points battle at that point. You guys were all about tied almost at that point, actually. But so the Herzog car gets into you. That's with 7 to go. You guys were the cause of the caution that comes out, and then you're thinking, okay, heck, we've got 7 to go. I'm here in the back. If I can just make up 2 or 3 spots and kind of close the gap so the deficit's not too big in the points. Then on that next restart with 7 to go, Brody Armtrout bounces off the wall, comes down, collects Matt Erickson, that at that point is the point leader, and now all of a sudden things flip-flop. What's your emotions in the car at that point? Take me through that.
Well, when I was sitting in the back, of course, I was hoping, well, hopefully a big wreck happens and I can get through it. But, when you actually see it happen, you don't expect to see it happen. But, man, that was crazy. I just saw the dry sweep was put down earlier in the race, and I just saw a big cloud and just hit the brakes. There was no one behind me, of course, because I had just spun. But, man, to get through that was really good for us. And, I hate to see it for Matt and his guys, but as far as the point standing go, it was definitely a big step in the right direction, because I think at that point he was probably 15 points in the lead because he was running second. So, like I said, anything can happen in racing, and even with 7 to go, he'd been running second for a while. Unfortunate for him and his team.
What were your emotions like the entire night? As you guys know, we listen to a lot of audio, and at times we'll fuse it into the TV show, so we're recording a lot of audio. We don't get to listen to it live during the show unless it's something really important that we fuse into the commentators. So I actually listened to it on Monday when we were doing our recap here. You sounded really calm in the car. I mean, even when you were turned around, there was no chaos. Did you feel pretty calm the whole night, or were the emotions up at times and you were just kind of hiding that, or you sounded very calm? So what was going through in your mind at that time?
When the situation happened on lap 4 with the exhaust, I thought, hey, it's 80 laps. I know we definitely have the speed if we can get up there. Like you saw later in that race, we got up there fairly quickly, and then once we got there, we kind of just maintained it. We made a change. That we're going back to for the 10,000 win, but got up, was attempting a pass for second, and then got spun around. And we're really cool with Tyler Herzog, and I know it wasn't anything intentional. It was just good hard racing, and so I wasn't too mad about it. And you can really never give up. And like you saw with 7 to go, that situation happened. Took a couple cars out, and with the restart with 7 to go, we were 14th, I think, and then we ended up finishing 8th. So anything can happen. I just stayed calm and hope to get through all that.
Yep, well, you did a good job at that. Well, let's jump into the MAVTV part of what we're filming. I want to start this by playing a little clip that the guys are working on your driver documentary for MAVTV. And it's about your first win. It's those emotions from that night. So what I want to hear on the back side of this is, as a junior, you were Mr. Fast Time and things would happen. You learned so much. You made mistakes. At one point early on, you were leading, and then you hit a spun car. It looked like you might have your first victory. And so you learned so much, but didn't find a lot of success. And all of a sudden, things started to really click this year. And success is all around you, and I think it really comes to light with this first victory that we're going to show this clip. So I kind of want to hear on the backside of this, from all of that hard work to that victory, kind of what it meant to you. So watch this real quick, and I'll be right back with you.
Driver profile.
Halfway to that first segment, here comes Walbridge, almost got the lead, the 16-year-old from Vancouver, Washington. And like we talked about earlier, Andy, the 51 of Vernon, 77 Thompson, I think the only two open motor cars, crate motor inside, open motor outside. Jaden's done it. He's taken the lead on lap 25.
Yes, he has. We are down now to the last half a lap of this event. Down the back, he drives it into Mission. Turns 3 and 4, he'll straighten up, and Frank McBee will have those double checker flags. Jaden Walbridge takes the win. Kyle Keller, Matt Erickson hangs on just for third.
6th different winner of 2021 and a $5,000 Summer Speed Fest for 16-year-old Jaden Walbridge gets the win here at Madera Speedway.
Yeah, it feels really good. Like I said, we learned a ton from these last 2 races, and I think we had something that might have cost us those last 2 races. So I'm glad to put a good one together. I think it was a clean sweep this weekend. So that was good. I think I'm the points leader too. So, it's all starting to come together. I cannot be more blessed for this opportunity and everyone else we get here.
So what did that mean to you? What were the emotions that you were experiencing after all of that hard work? Not even the juniors up into the pros, but probably from the beginning of your racing. What did it mean to pick up that first televised win and to have it in the Nut Up Pro Late Model Series?
Oh, it felt great. Those 2 races leading up to it, of course, this last race, our streak got broken of halftime wins, but we had four in a row there. But the 2 races prior to my first win, it was really disappointing for me. Of course, we got a second, I think it was a 4th, but to the fault of nobody, we were having issues with our bump stops breaking, and in the second half, the frame dragging the ground, which is really just a helpless feeling for me. There's nothing that I can do about it. And, of course, the car won't turn when it's dragging the racetrack. So I actually felt better in one of those first ones that we didn't win than the one that I won, but we had resolved the bump stop issue. So it just felt great, and to get that first win, and then, of course, to back it up with the second win. And I was hoping to go 3 in a row this last weekend, but we just had all the bad luck hit us. But you just got to look forward, and I'm really looking forward to the 10,000 to win, and also the turkey shootout after that.
Yeah, and I think surviving, like we've talked so much in the past, whether it was Buddy Shepard or whoever it was, surviving round 8 and coming out of that decent can be actually what wins championships, it seems like. Or, really championships are won on your worst nights, not your best nights, containing that. So, and with this thing being so tight, there's no telling what's going to happen this next race. So being smooth and consistent, very important. So tell me, what is your favorite food? We're going to start kind of light. I always like this to get to know a little bit more of the personality and get the fans to, what's your favorite food?
Favorite food, it's pork chops, but it can't have the bone in it. I don't like the bone with it in there.
What's the worst food?
I don't like any type of fish, and I know you're a big fisherman, so you probably don't like hearing that.
No, believe it or not, I don't eat fish. So
wow.
I catch and release. My fishing is like racing. So so what is your favorite color?
I know a lot of people say it's not a color, but black.
That's your favorite. What's your least favorite color?
Probably pink or purple. I'm not sure.
Favorite music?
I don't really listen to music too often, just kind of whatever's on in the truck on the way to the racetrack, but it's mostly just country music.
Is that because Grandpa or somebody else, crew chief, listens to the country music, or? Yeah.
It's Mike Juarez listens to country music, and then it's just on the radio, so we just all kind of listen to it.
Okay. What's your best subject in school?
Math, definitely.
Math, that'll come in handy. I'm sure you don't want to be a crew chief, huh? So, what's your least favorite subject in school?
Probably English, but I would say it helps me probably the most with racing and writing, stuff like that, but I don't like it too much.
Yeah, English and math, very important. I tell a lot of the youngsters when they come in, pay attention. You have to do well in school in English and math. English is what you use to write the proposals, type those out to go get your money. Math is what you use to figure out how to get the car around in a hurry. So pay attention to both of those subjects. Are you a morning person or a night person?
No, I'm a night person.
Okay. What time do you go to bed?
Probably 11, 12.
11.
Mike's always getting on me because I'm waking up about 9 and he's up at 5 in the morning wanting to work on the race car.
Well, tell him you'll take the night shift. You guys can just go around the clock. Yeah. I already kind of touching on this, but I want to go back to it. For young drivers, if they were asking you if there's a 9 or 10-year-old coming up, what would you tell them to pay attention and really trying to get the most out of in school in their education that will help them the most in racing?
Yeah, like I said, English is really important, of course, with writing, and like you said, proposals. And I think a lot of the younger kids, what I was fortunate enough to learn when I was younger is to really like look somebody in their eyes when you shake their hand, and kind of just outgoing and talking to people, and not really. I've always been kind of social when the time is right, but not too social, and still being concentrated at the racetrack. So a lot of young kids, sometimes you just see them kind of in their trailers, which is no problem because race weekends can definitely be intense. But definitely just learn everything you can from all the people around you, because there's a lot of experience at the racetrack.
How did you get interested in racing?
I got interested in racing when I was about 4 years old, somewhere around there, and it's because my grandpa raced. Of course, I wasn't alive when he raced back then, but he started me when I was 4, and then just kind of grew up from there, going up through the ranks, racing. Started off, moved up when I was 4. I did road course, pavement, of course, and then when I was 8, I moved up to the outlaw karts on the dirt track. And then from there, ran that until I was 11, went back to Millbridge and raced with Kyle Larson, Ricky Stenhouse, Rico Brew, names like that, and was in the trophy dash with them. And then also when I was 11, I was the youngest to win a championship in the 500 open class. So then I moved to the junior late models at Vegas first, and I was also running Madera, double duty at the same time. And I picked up the Rookie of the Year and champion in Vegas that year in the juniors. And then, like you said, in Madera, I was hoping to get my first win, but unfortunate circumstances. And 2020 race season got cut short for us during COVID. And then this year came back. If I win the championship, I will be Rookie of the Year and champion again. So that would be another cool accomplishment, just like I did in Vegas. But anything that happens in racing, like you said, the points battle is so tight, you really can't guarantee anything.
Yeah, and I think your demeanor, especially now, I've watched you grow so much in the last couple of years, and the biggest growth I've seen is actually what happens between the years, not just, I mean, you're about the size of a small football player, so when I say growing, I mean growing as a person, and your demeanor lends itself very well for these tight championship battles, and that was really on full display last week, how calm you were. There were other audio clips during the race where there was some real tension, and you just head down nice and calm, kept it all going. So let's back up a little bit. Let's jump. You summarized that really well with all of your racing. So you started in go-kart racing, sound like go-kart road racing at a very young age, then went to the outlaw karts, which is just an incredible scene with Larson and so many people that have ran, so much talent that have come from that dirt. But let's jump back a little bit. Your very first race ever, I always like to hear this, and I want to document it. What do you remember about the very first time you were in competition?
Oh, I remember everyone was getting mad at me because I would just go into the corner and just dive bomb everybody. I didn't know any better, but I remember in the main event of my first race, I was watching NASCAR. They'd take the hard left turn and go to the garage. Well, I had taken the hard right turn, and I was getting lapped by a leader and T-boned him right in the wall. And man, they wanted to rip our head off after the race, but they understood it was a first race, and we ended up racing with them a lot more, but we didn't really talk to them anymore after that.
So you mentioned earlier also about your grandpa. So tell me about your family. Tell me about the support system you have around you, and tell me everything you can about them, if you would.
Yeah, so my grandpa had got me racing, like I said, when I was 4, And at the same time, I was racing with my brother on the road course stuff. And my brother, as he grew older, he just I wouldn't say lost interest, but I was definitely gaining interest and always wanting to go race and being so interested in it. So my grandpa had seen that and decided to go racing with me, and then my brother took interest in some other stuff, but he's been with me all the way. And a couple years back when we were racing in the outlaw kart stuff between Cycle Land and Red Bluff, we'd make the trip probably 40 times a year from Oregon. And just the dedication from him and my grandma has just been, I couldn't do it without him driving every weekend. It's definitely took a toll on us, and we started flying within this last year. But I'm glad that's over, definitely.
All right, sorry about that, Jaden. I've got a trigger set that keeps kicking my audio off, so you should be able to hear me now. Sorry about that. On the screen, I just popped a picture up. Your grandfather's your biggest influence, it sounds like, in your life and your racing life. So tell me about this picture and tell me a little bit about his racing from the stories you've heard.
Yeah, so he primarily raced on the West Coast, and he went back east a couple of times. He raced a lot of the tour stuff, which is now SRL, and then some of what now is ARCA. But he has 147 career wins, and a lot of it was iRacing growing up, and him coaching me on that. And I've done so many thousands of laps on that. And of course, when we have off race weekends, we just used to do that a lot when I was a kid.
So tell me about the coaching. Did your grandfather help you a lot with your iRacing? So it sounds like while you were racing, he was actually coaching you as if you're in a car?
Yeah. And like I said, that started when I was really young as well. And we always talk about how blessed in this day and age we are to have that, because in his day and age, he didn't have that. But yeah, my grandpa's taught me 99% of what I know. And, probably the other 1% is just trial and error. But yeah, like I said, he's just taught me so much, and most of it has been on iRacing.
So and we've seen so many kids, it's amazing how fast the learning curve is with the youngsters, and I attribute a lot of that to iRacing, the computers, the sims, the technology that you kids have. It allows us to do what we do with the kids at a much younger age. So for those that don't know the outlaw karts, why don't you, let's pop this graphic down. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what an outlaw kart is? Obviously no suspension, fast, racy. So tell us a little bit about outlaw kart racing.
Yeah, no suspension, no power steering, and the 500cc class, which I raced, they have more power per pound than a 410 sprint car. So
Wow.
That's pretty insane. And when I first got, it's really troubling to hang on to one of those things, especially on a real short track. So being in a stock car with the suspension and the power steering definitely makes it a lot easier, but you have a lot longer races, so it's a lot more physical, and it gets really hot in the cars.
Well, in the outlaw kart racing, those 500s, the action is right now, fast, intense. So I would imagine that's good training also for just that full boat, let's go wide open type situation that sounds like at a young age you were suited for. So so let's fast forward to where we're at right now. You've had some tremendous help around you. You're now the point leader. You're in a very good situation, point leader in a a nationally televised tour or series, and heading off with the prospect of being an ARCA race car driver here in probably the next couple of years. As far as a tour, where I had a tour on my mind, what do you struggle the most with right now with racing? What's the thing that you have to work the hardest at?
Well, I think most of the hard work goes in, like people say, races are won and lost in the shop, not at the track. And I really believe that's true. as far as the cars being prepared, and also preparing yourself for it. Mentally, like you said, I stayed pretty calm. So just all those things that I think I struggled with, especially in the juniors. I think taking some time off helped me with that, and kind of regaining that too. So this year was kind of a restart for us, and definitely always learning along the way.
So it would be the shop preparation, and then you're very physically fit now. It looks like you're working out or doing a lot of exercising as well as the exercise on the car, the prep. So it'd be that shop prep's probably the most important thing you'd say then.
Yeah, and it's very physical too. Like I said, with the outlaw carts, it was a lot more physical on the arms, but it was only 20 laps. And of course, there's no body on them, so you have a lot of airflow, but you're just stuck in a box in a late model. And actually, this last race, I've gotten used to the physical ness of the race car, but the last race, with about 20 laps to go or so, because the exhaust had fell off. I actually didn't tell anybody this because my grandpa would probably tell me to pull off. But the exhaust
inside
came
the
off.
Car, huh?
Yeah, I was driving with one hand, and I had the other hand out the window trying to get some air. But it's just one of those things where, I just had the championship on my mind, and I knew my grandpa, after I told him after the race, he wasn't too happy, and I don't blame him. But the championship, of course, is so important. And at that point, I was running third. So if we would have had a restart, I don't know what would have happened. But Keller was pretty fast.
Yeah, and I think back to the exhaust leak, and we've all been there at one point or another. And I remember a race at Topeka, Kansas. I was running the AOL car the first time I ever drove it, and we had an exhaust leak in the car, and it was about a 2.5-hour road race, and I didn't know where I was at by the end of that race. So I think a handful of us have been there. So what we're doing, fans, this is the behind the wheel segment with Jaden Walbridge. And I'm looking over here on my right. This is the Facebook post. On the left is YouTube, the Short Track TV post. So if you've got any questions for Jaden you want to fuse into this interview, this will actually, about 2 minutes of this will be edited down, and it will go into one of our episodes on Madera Racing on MAVTV as a driver profile. It's behind the wheel driver profile with Jaden Walbridge. Seth Wise, good to see you there. Seth Wise says, can't wait to be back there in 2 weeks. Seth is coming in to compete with you, Jaden, for the Short Track Shootout, $10,000 to win, so that entry list is really looking nice. Over here on my left, Robbie Keneally has a good question. I'll kind of fuse this into the questions I've got. Jaden, what are your thoughts for the final round of the MAVTV series? So what are your thoughts going into this? What's the preparation? What's the mindset? Are you going in there to win? Points are definitely on your mind. It's a tight point battle. So what are your thoughts going into the final round? Question from Joey Keneally.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter as long as you make the redraw, as long as you do. But like I say, it really just, you kind of have to take a different approach on where you start. Like, of course, if we start the pole, we're going to take a different approach as if we start 10th on the redraw. So, you kind of just got to be quick with it and just kind of make your approach up as you go. But, we have 150 laps and plenty of time to be patient. But obviously, if there's going to be gaps, I'm going to take those gaps. So, like I said, we'll just kind of have to wait and see. And, of course, we'll have the race on our mind, but also the championship. So we'll just it's a thin line between them.
Sounds like a smart approach, kind of playing chess a little bit. Take what it'll give you, get aggressive if you can, but if not, don't take yourself out early. So what is your favorite thing about racing? You've spent pretty much your entire life racing. What's the number one thing you enjoy and you like the most about racing?
I just love racing. It's so fun to me. And like a couple years back, I used to be so intense at the racetrack, and like I say, taking that 2020 season off really just let me realize how fun just the actual racing part of it is. And the longer the race, just the more fun that I'm having. And this 2021 season, I've had probably the most fun racing that I ever have, taking 2020 off. So I'd say, and then also spending family time together and all of us getting together as well.
So taking off in 2020, when you guys were forced to regroup, it had, COVID and the shutdown had a huge impact on a lot of people, definitely on your family, and you guys had to step back. Did that make you appreciate the fact when you do go racing? Did that make you appreciate what you had more? Because you definitely came back with an appreciative attitude, it looked like, and a very calm, smooth demeanor that I think that break, ironically, could have been what set you up to where you're at today.
Yeah, 100%. I think the 2020 season, we took it off, but I had never taken one single race off, basically since I was 4. So definitely taking it off, realized how privileged I really was, and I'm more thankful than ever now, just being able to race, much less being able to contend for wins and the championship.
Do you have a nickname? I've got a fan that wants to know what your racing nickname is.
I had Mr. Fast Time in the juniors, but I've never really had one besides that one.
Okay, so then pretty easy. The next question, the follow-up would be, how did you get your nickname, Mr. Fast Time in the juniors? That was pretty easy. You dominated the speed. But tell me a little bit in the juniors. You dominated on the speed side, but was it just a lack of maturity or impatience? You found yourself, you tore up a little bit of stuff, and like so many of the kids that are learning, was it lack of patience? Was it the cars, or what was it?
Man, obviously we had the speed. I just couldn't put a whole race together, I guess you can say, and man, it's I think a lot of that was the outlet cart's only running 20 laps. Most of that stuff at that time on iRacing I was running was 40 laps, and those races were only 70 laps. So just running a lot longer stuff, and you'll hear me talk a lot of my interviews, the 2 that I won and the couple before that as well. I think that I've gotten a lot better at saving my stuff and not using it up. And I think for that 150 lapper at the end of the year, that will definitely be key.
So on the TV series, what value does that have, and what feedback do you get from racing on the TV series? Do you get much feedback from that, or how many people? I know we get a lot of communications and emails, things here at the studio from the TV show. So what kind of involvement do you get because of the TV show?
Oh, it's crazy. I haven't been on iRacing in about 3 months, but last time I was on there, I joined a couple different races, and people would just know me because they watch MAVTV all across the country. But the TV is so huge, and you and everyone at Madera has definitely done a great job building this program to what it is today. So I can't thank you guys enough.
Well, and the idea is to take the kids from, kind of a college of racing at a very young age. And just wait, you think they're talking right now, all of your winning stuff's coming up when you take over the points. It's a unique situation we have at Madera, as you know. We start the season in March, but our TV season starts in the middle of summer. And then that rolls all the way around, so the races just start to air. And then as racing shut down and everyone else is shut off, we've got brand new episodes coming out throughout the winter. So you'll get a lot of attention from that. So let's jump back just a touch real quick. What were your goals coming into the 2021 season? We know you guys had to park, shut down for a while. You started with a couple of rental cars. You guys were shopping for your own car. What were the actual goals when the first green flag dropped in 2021?
The goal was, well, we didn't really have any goals to really start it off. We had rented a car in Irwindale for the 150 lapper. Didn't qualify great. We had to run the B main, won the B main. Then we had a 150 lapper, and moved my way up to, I think it was 4th, and then I had a right rear go flat. But the long run speed in that car was definitely really good. And coming to the first race of the year, we knew it was 100 laps, and I had high expectation for the long run. We just weren't able to put a solid night together. We finished outside the top 10 in that one, and then race number 2 as well. And then race number 3 was our first race with the new car, and then went out there and got pretty close to a track record. But as soon as we qualified with that new car, the expectations were to win the championship. I never even thought I would get close to it, but I think it was round 6, we made up a ton of points and even put ourselves in position to where we are now.
What have been your biggest challenges during the 2021 season? We talked a little bit about 2021. What have been the biggest challenges for you this year as a race team, not yourself individually?
Biggest challenges, it's the first season that I've worked on my own race car, and I'm always asking Mike questions and learning this stuff. And like I said, you can never learn enough. You can always keep learning. But just trying to learn as much as I can as far as working on the car, and I think it's paid off tremendously as far as me getting out of the car and knowing what I feel and knowing what I want to change.
Well, and I think working on your own car is so important. I was just chatting with Ron Horn today. Ron's coming out with Landon Lewis on October 16th for the Triple Turkey Open to run against you guys with Landon. And the guys back there, especially guys like Ron, they're real big on work on your own car. And I know when we chat with different friends back there, one of the things they often want to know, do these kids work on their own car or do they not? So I think it's a big advantage what you're doing now, as you know. And I know Derek Thorne works with you and the Mike works with you, you've talked about. So it's really important to know your cars inside and out. So we talked a little bit about your family. Tell me about your crew chief. Tell me about your relationship there. You've alluded a couple times that he wants you to work on the car. So why don't you tell me about that relationship?
Yeah, we met them running at, we met Mike at Red Bluff and also at Cycling when we were running the Outlaw cards. I raced against his son, Colby, and then his son recently, a couple years ago, he was running the late models at All-American Speedway, and then this year he's becoming an airline pilot. So we knew Mike, and we decided to go with him on the late model stuff. Him and then also Derek Thorne has been a help out too.
So what, on the big picture, dreams in life, racing-wise, what do you want to do? Do you want to be a professional race car driver full-time? I know Grandpa was a pilot. You mentioned that. Do you want to be a pilot? What's your goals in life?
I think regardless, obviously I want to make it to the top of NASCAR, but I think regardless of the outcome in racing, how far I make it, I'm really, really interested in commercial real estate. So if I make it to the top of NASCAR, I think I'll still be doing that. But if I don't make it, like I said, either way, I think I'll be doing that because I'm really interested in it.
So that's smart. Your backup plan is commercial real estate or in conjunction with your driving career. So very smart. Tell me about how do you prepare? How do you get involved in commercial real estate? Do you have a family member or someone that's already doing that can help you? Is it schooling? How do you go down that road at the same time you're pursuing a professional racing career?
Yeah, my grandpa has done a lot of real estate deals in his life, commercial real estate deals. And then also my mom, she's a commercial real estate broker. And growing up, it's funny because I'm always asking her questions and always listening to her on the phone. And I've always been interested in that as well. So between the two, I've really kind of learned to love it.
Okay, so jumping to another side of this, let's pretend you're already a Cup driver. You're on the pole at Bristol because they were at Bristol last weekend. What Cup team are you driving for?
Oh, I don't
anyone,
know.
Anyone you want. The pick of the litter. Any of the Cup teams. Who would it be?
Oh, I don't know. As long as I make it to Cup, but no. Hendricks would probably be cool because they had just passed for the most wins. But with the rules changing in NASCAR so often this year, Hendricks is doing well, and then maybe next year Penske or Haas will do well. So you always see teams kind of switching off on who's at the top, but I'll really be happy to drive for any one of them.
So who is your favorite Cup driver right now?
I don't know if I have a favorite, but I think I'd resemble myself most with Kyle Larson because we grew up racing the same tracks and had kind of taken the same footsteps as him. But I wouldn't say I have a favorite.
Who's your least favorite? Come on, you can say it.
Oh, I don't know.
You have to have a least favorite. We all do.
Man, I'm just trying to think. Maybe we'll go back to that one later.
Okay.
Let me think on that one.
Whose ride would you want right now? If you could replace one Cup driver, who would it be? You just jump right in their seat right now. Sponsored, car, persona, the whole thing. Who would it be? What Cup driver?
Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson. You just step right in his shoes and take care of business.
Yeah, I think as far as dirt racing, I think he's the best of all time. He's really good on pavement as well, but as far as the wins that he have, I don't know if you can really put him in that category yet. Mm-hmm. But he's done pretty much everything on dirt so far.
Now, you were on the track. You've already had the opportunity to race against Kyle, right? That's what you mentioned earlier. What'd that mean to you, and where he's at right now? What's that mean to be a youngster at your age to say, hey, I've already been on the same racetrack with Kyle Larson?
Oh, it was so cool. And looking back now, I was only 10, 11 years old, and it was me, Rico Abreu, Logan Seavey, which is a big USAC guy, and then also Tanner Thorson and Ricky Stenhouse, and of course Kyle Larson. We were just all on the racetrack in a big circle, just talking to each other, and I was just a 10, 11-year-old racing with them. But looking back at that was just really, really cool to be a part of. And we got a cool picture at Millbridge of me 4 wide with Kyle Larson, and a lot of people think it was taken under yellow, but we were actually going green during that picture. So that's probably one of the coolest pictures so far.
Really, really special. I'm going to jump off my questions real quick. Kent Cam on the Facebook side over here says Kent Cam's a club racer, part of a really, really neat family. He wants to know, what advice would you give to a team that is struggling badly with speed? What advice would you give them?
Like I said earlier, just being like a sponge and absorbing all the information you can from everybody you can, and asking the right questions with the right people, and man, that's really all you can do.
Okay, on the other side, on the YouTube side over here, I've got a question for you from Roger McClure. What is your future racing plan? So what's the pathway? You've already mentioned you want to be a Cup driver, you want to be a professional race car driver, while at the same time you've got a commercial real estate investment career. What would be the pathway to you? So many of the kids talk about from the pro late models. It seems like there's so much talk right now, and the energy is around the ARCA West series. So is it pro late models to ARCA West, then trucks, and then on up the ladder? Or what are your plans? If you could blueprint this perfectly and lay the roadmap out, what would it look like for you?
Well, I'll just be blessed to take any opportunity I can. Racing is really just a sponsorship sport. So if we have the sponsorship to take me there, I'd love to do that. And obviously it would be, I think running the tour stuff would be pretty fun in the super late models. But ARCA sounds good. And then I think I have to be 18 to get into the trucks and then move up from there. But like I said, I'll just be blessed to have any opportunity I can get.
Well, and I think right now on the ARCA side, let's look at just this weekend alone, or tomorrow, Thursday night. You've got Kyle Keller, Eric Nascimento Jr., Jesse Love, and we've got Joey East. 4 drivers, graduates from our junior late model program that are running the ARCA West race down at Vegas. So any predictions there? That's a pathway to follow right there. The kids are up. Any predictions? Which one of those 4 do you think can win that race this weekend, or this Thursday, at the ARCA West race down at the NASCAR races in Vegas?
I don't know. Jesse's been pretty stout this year and last year. But also Nascimento's been running pretty good lately too. So, and also it's Kyle Keller's home track. So really it can go any direction. I don't know if they're practicing tonight or not. I haven't really looked, but it can really go any direction.
Yeah, and you've got, as you mentioned, Kyle Keller, hot off of his first TV win last weekend, ran really well in that pits prepared car in his first start at Vegas, has a lot of seat time there at Vegas, so he might be a shocker there. And then you have Joey East that just picked up his first victory not too long ago back in Colorado on that track, which is not too much dissimilar from the Vegas track. So any one of those, I believe, as you said, might just shock everybody. It's amazing how the kids, the graduates from the 5150 series and then our program have gone way uphill, making a lot of noise. I always like to ask this question, especially of those of you that came from the 5150 Junior Late Model Series and then into the pros. Right now we're working with 12 to 15 brand new drivers, scouting and bringing new drivers up into the 5150 Junior Late Model Series. We have it's the biggest group coming in of 10, 11, and 12-year-olds, youngsters. What advice would you give that young driver, knowing what you know now of what you dealt with the Junior Late Model Series, 5150 Junior Late Model Series, what advice would you give that young driver? And then in addition to the driver, what advice would you give their parents as they come into this journey a couple of years, 2, 3, 4 years in the 5150 Junior Late Model Series?
Probably the advice to the driver would be, I think one of the things that has contributed to some of my success this year would be, in the past, I'd be just so laser focused on hitting my line every lap. And I'd come into the pits, I really wouldn't know what the car was doing because I was focusing so hard on my line. So really kind of just calming down, not being so worked up about it. And I focus as much as on what the car's doing as I am on my line. So definitely don't be tunnel visioned on that and have good feedback on what the car is doing. And, for the parents out there, just don't put too much pressure on your kids, and I really, my grandpa's really never pressured me, and I think that's what has contributed to some of my calmness at the racetrack.
That's actually excellent advice, put about as well as I've heard it. For the parents, just don't put pressure on the kids, let it naturally happen, I would add, and don't forget to have fun. But great advice on for the young driver coming in, and great advice for the parents. So I think that covers just about everything here. Let's see, make sure I didn't miss anything. Let's jump over and check a couple of questions here real quick, make sure we didn't miss anything there. Come over this side. What have we got up here? Oh, you've got some people already voting Jaden for the championship here, so it looks like you've earned a new fan or two tonight.
You guys are going to jinx me again.
No, round. Believe it or not, the short track shootout it's designed to put a lot of pressure on the point leaders, not just the point leader. So those of you that are point leaders, the top three of you guys actually, you've got to go in and think about, do I want to race for the 10,000 to win, or do I want to race for the championship? And I think you laid out a pretty good plan. Take what it'll give you. Take care of business on all sides, but you've definitely got some outsiders coming in that'll try and pick off that big payday. So it applies a lot of pressure to you guys. So anything that I've missed that you would like to add? Any sponsors you'd like to plug? Who helps you? Anything that we've missed that we haven't covered right now?
Nope, just my grandpa and grandma for this great opportunity and being able to race, and Mike Juarez, Derek Thorne, and Mom and Jeremy. And Jim and Lori Noonan for all their help as well.
All right, Jaden Walbridge, thank you very much for your time this evening. Matt and the guys will go to work and make a really nice driver profile for you. It'll be inserted actually in one of your victories. They're back inserting this one. I believe it's your second victory. It was August? Yeah, it was August, the August race. You picked off that 5,000 to win, so I think this will insert in that race as they deliver it to MAVTV. So thank you for your time. Just out of curiosity, you're up at home in Oregon right now, right? You're not down in Sacramento?
Vancouver, Washington.
Vancouver, Washington. Okay. But you work on the car down in the Sacramento area, so that's a big commitment. You're working on the car and then traveling by yourself at times, correct?
Yeah. So obviously the race got over Saturday, and then I had stayed till Tuesday to work on the car, and then I'm going back over there on Monday. This Monday, and then so I'll be down there for about a week before the race.
All right. Thank you for your time very much here on the Inside Draft and for your Behind the Wheel segment. Like I said to the fans, those of you, we just fire this thing off live so you get to know our drivers better. We've been doing all this for the last couple of years as it is, so we thought it'd be fun. And so, Jaden, thank you. Next week we'll have a youngster on the show, one of our youngest drivers, Jeffrey Erickson. The week after that will be Ethan Nascimento, and then we go back to a couple of pro late model drivers. So thank you very much, Jaden. I appreciate your time tonight. Make sure you're working hard on that race car, working out and ready to roll. We expect a heck of a race on October 2nd in the Nut Up Short Track Shootout Championship night, both the 5150 juniors and the pros. And whatever happens, it's been an absolute pleasure. Congratulations on the run so far, and congratulations on your growth in racing and what you guys are doing with your little family race team.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And yeah, that 10,000 win, we'll make it exciting for the fans.
All right. Have a great night, Jaden Walbridge. We appreciate your time very much this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
All right, race fans, that was Jaden Walbridge, the point leader in the Nut Up Pro Late Model Series. And as you picked up right there, just very calm personality, very well-spoken, nice young man. And I should have prepared some of the audio prior to this. We were so busy. But if you would have heard how he reacted in the car, 2 trips to the back. You know, the first one, the exhaust jumps out of the side of the car, calm as can be, just get back out there, work his way to the front. Second time he was turned around by one of the other drivers, Tyler Herzog, that's battling for the championship. Calm as can be. The Herzog group apologized. They apologized over the radio. Jaden, hey, it happens. I know he didn't do it on purpose. Car's not tore up. Same lap, 7 to go restart. All of a sudden there's chaos in the front, and boom, it comes back right back to Jaden. So really, really nice young man, heck of a talent. I think he's got quite the future in the sport, the way he's grown and with his demeanor, to say the least. So this part of the show, we're off to the last portion of the show that we do each time here on the Inside Draft. And tonight, it's all about a sponsorship tip. We've got a marketing seminar coming up that I'm going to do 6 straight weeks in Inside Draft in the off season. It'll happen looks like December from the scheduling with all the interviews that we're scheduling for MAVTV. And after we're finished with that, I'm going to do a free marketing seminar. We typically teach those in person for our drivers, but it'll be right here on the Inside Draft, both on Short Track TV and on Facebook, that we can interact and help all of you. It doesn't matter where you're at. Carol Hoover, my buddy, I grew up as a youngster with. He's back in Oskaloosa, Iowa. Takes a bunch of cool photos at Oski at the Speedway there, Southern Iowa Speedway. Doesn't matter if it's friends of Carol. Folks out here, if they can learn something from us, we'll try and help us. As Jaden said, racing's all about sponsorship, and it certainly is. So the tip I've got for you this evening that we'll leave you with tonight is about sponsorship, not charity. So I want to put this on the screen. Really important. I get a lot of phone calls about sponsorship, and it typically is, hey, I need a sponsor. Find somebody to give me some money. I want you to think of it differently. It's not charity. Sponsorship is it's a business deal. So how can you possibly meet the needs of that sponsor? And what you really need to figure out with your sponsorship hunting is if you can find and meet the needs, the goal of that company. And every company will be different. So the first thing that you need to do is figure out what are the goals of that company. And goals are going to be significantly different depending on what the company is. For example, if it's a brand new brand, let's say it's a brand new soft drink company that we've hardly ever heard of. Brand marketing, logo recognition will be extremely important to that company. Getting that brand in front of as many exposures as possible. But if it's a Coca-Cola type company, Coca-Cola or Pepsi, they get so much brand recognition. They're a household name. You don't even have to, you can just see the paint scheme sometimes and realize what it is. So oftentimes with an established brand, their goals will be different. It might be employee promotions, employee incentives, morale programs. It could be, there's all types. It could be business-to-business relationship like I did with Mountain Dew and Save Mart, both very well-established companies, but we would do employee-type programs coupled with trying to outwork Coca-Cola in those Save Mart stores. So the biggest tip I can give you, again, to start with, is sponsorship is not charity. Figure out the goals of that company. Figure out what they're after with that company. If it's a new company, they want exposure. If it's a company, they want to increase sales. If they want to make employees happy, figure out their goals. And again, every company will be different. Here's also a little tip, then a little exercise we go through in our marketing seminars. Something to help you out right now. If you're looking for a sponsor, now's the time to start looking, not next June, July. That would be for the following year. Certainly not next January and February. Never give up on looking for sponsors, but now is really the time to start. And here's a little exercise that we do in our marketing seminars. Whatever state you're in, Google the top 100 growing franchises, top 100 growing franchises in your state. And then start doing research on each of those. California, maybe it's Togo's or a pizza company or something like that. It might be a cleaning service. But Google the top 100 franchises and start doing research on each one of them, how long they've been around, how many competitors they have, and start to formulate, if you were to do a proposal, how could you meet that company's needs? And then I'll keep expanding in the marketing seminars this winter. We'll expand on these exercises and take you through a process of thinking about how to obtain sponsorship and put business deals together versus just your handout, hey, put your logo on my car, give me some money, I'll go racing. And again, sponsorship is not charity. Make it a business deal, and it should help you think differently and be much more successful and your sponsorship hunting. So I'm a little long, 7-Eleven tonight. It's usually 7-Eleven, an old Kyle Petty sponsor, right? See how the imaging works. So a little bit long tonight. Normally we're right at 7 o'clock, but I had a few extra things. Again, the next race coming up is the Harvest Classic this coming Saturday night. Kenny Takuchi tribute with the Donnie Large tribute. Inside that, it's the Harvest Vukovic Classic, 2 races combined in one. So if you're around, make sure you jump out there with us. We will not be live streaming this weekend. Unfortunately, as soon as I'm finished here, this system's shutting down and it's being shipped off for an upgrade to make sure we've got some new tools and some flashy things that we're doing for the live stream for the short track shootout. So it'll be in person only for this weekend at the Harvest Classic. So if you're around, come join us should be a really good weather. Nice Saturday night at the Madera Speedway, fastest 1/3 mile in the West. So thank you for joining us here on Inside Draft. Tonight it was featuring Jadan Walbridge. Nice interview, nice young man. And make sure you guys tune in. If you're not able to come to the Speedway, hit Short Track TV on October the 2nd for the Nut Up Short Track Shootout. That will be one heck of an event. And certainly watch MAVTV every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. Our shows run every single week on MAVTV. So thank you for being with us, and we'll catch you next week right here on the Inside Draft.